Hey guys, it's Reilly. I hope everyone is dealing well with the rainy season. I don't know if you can hear, but it's currently raining really hard in Kagawa. In fact, some of my friends who teach English in elementary school said that school was canceled today because of a heavy rain warning. I still have to go to work, though. Yeah, I'm recording this in the morning, so yeah, before work. But yeah, another impact of the rainy season is kind of it's kind of related to what I want to talk about today. I'm going to be talking about rugby. And so now with all this rain, I'm a little worried if I'll be able to play rugby tomorrow. But yeah, I guess without further ado, let's get into it and talk about it. Alright, so yeah, a couple of months ago, one of my friends who is in the JET program got invited to a rugby tournament in Tokushima that is, as of recording, tomorrow, so June, 3rd? Yeah. The JET program. If you're not familiar, the JET program is a program where native speakers of English are taken from overseas, hired from overseas, and brought into Japanese classrooms in elementary schools, junior high schools, and high schools. So there's like a lot of them all over Japan, and they have like little communities in each prefecture where they can interact, and that's called AJET, I think. I'm not sure what that stands for, but it's kind of the like social aspect of the JET program. Anyway, Tokushima's AJET reached out to one of my friends here in Kagawa and invited him to this rugby tournament. And he sent out messages to a lot of his friends asking if anybody was interested in participating. So about 12 or 13 people initially at the beginning said that we wanted to join, and that was kind of it. I guess from his perspective, it was kind of like, okay, this is something that's happening in 2 months, so I'll invite people to it, and then I'll leave it. But I and a few of my friends kind of wanted to take it like a little bit more seriously, and at least like practice and kind of, I guess, use it as an excuse to get some exercise and hang out on the weekends. So I think our first practice was probably right around like Hanami season, cherry blossom viewing season. And so we were at the cherry blossom park, and we were throwing around rugby ball. Luckily, it wasn't too crowded there that day. So ever since then, most weekends, I can't say every weekend, but most weekends we've gone down to a park and we've practiced throwing the rugby ball around, practiced catching and doing a little bit of running. But in the beginning, we didn't really know the rules. I should say this is a touch rugby tournament, not tackle rugby. So there's not going to be any like violence, hopefully. It's just kind of if you touch someone, they have to stop running. But beyond that, beyond knowing that if you touch someone, in fact, we didn't even know if you had to touch someone with two hands or if only one was okay. I know now that one is okay, but at that time we really didn't know any of the rules, so we were just kind of practicing the movements of rugby, I guess, like passing, throwing, catching, and running a little bit. But yeah, we had to do a few practices just kind of blind without knowing what we were doing. And then one day when we were practicing kind of in the center of the city, my other friend, who's like a big rugby fan, was working nearby. So on his lunch break, he came to give us some pointers about what the rules might be, because again, he's a rugby fan, but he's a fan of like real professional rugby, and he's never played like touch rugby before, so he doesn't know exactly what the rules will be at this tournament, but he said what the rules usually are in rugby, and he gave us some drills to practice for like passing while running and things like that. But because he was on his lunch break from work, he came to the park just, dressed in like a suit with like his nice shoes on, and it was a little bit muddy outside, so we were all kind of running around and we were muddy, and he was dressed very nicely in like a clean white shirt, tie, black leather shoes. So we just called him Coach from then on, because he looked so formal while all of us were in athletic clothes and muddy. After Coach gave us some pointers, we had a few more practices, and we practiced his drills. And then we were contacted by the organizer of the event, kind of the head guy who's running the tournament, and he let us know that there's another team from Kagawa that's going to join the tournament, and that they practice at this other park, and that they invited us to come practice with them. So that was about a month ago, I think, maybe, something like that, and we went to go practice with them, and it turns out that we weren't sure what to expect of them. We weren't sure if they would be like foreign English teachers like us, or if they were like more serious rugby players or what. But it turns out that they were mostly older, like veteran rugby players, people who had played both touch and real rugby for like 20 or 30, or I think in some cases 40 years. So it was kind of the best case situation for us to really learn the rules and learn some drills. I didn't mention before, drill, is like a way of practicing. It's like a quick exercise to help you focus on one skill. So one of the drills we learned from them was you have two lines of people, and the people are standing across from each other, and then another person runs in the middle between the two lines, and the person on the left of them throws them a ball, they catch, and then throw a ball to the person on the right line. So maybe it's kind of hard to imagine, but basically two lines of people, you run between them and catch and throw a ball as you do so. So it's a running, catching, and throwing drill. And that was really useful for kind of getting used to catching and throwing quickly. But yeah, okay. So we had that first practice with the veterans, and we did one little like practice game with them that really helped us to learn the rules and learn what kind of penalties there are and what mistakes are easy to make when you're playing a touch rugby game. And then after that, I think it was Golden Week, so we didn't practice for a little while. Then there was like a really rainy day, so we missed practicing with them up until last Sunday. We were able to go and practice with them again. And this one was like a little bit, I don't want to say serious, but it felt a little bit more serious because it was the last practice before the tournament. We were all getting excited. We had uniforms made. We actually, Yuki, my fiance, designed a t-shirt that has our name on it, which is the name of the bar that we often go to in town, who we called our sponsor. And then we're the apes, so it showed like a gorilla holding a rugby ball. But we all had our t-shirts, our uniforms, and we went there, and we had like a kind of more serious practice where we mostly did practice games, and we didn't do so many drills at that time. So we did a few mixed practices where like both teams would kind of shuffle and play together. And then finally, in the last maybe 20 minutes of the practice, we had a mock game, a mock match between our team, the Apes, and the veterans team. And about it must have been only like 2 minutes in. It was like the first drive of the game. I don't know if that's a term you use in rugby. That's an American football term. Drive means like basically each team gets a chance to be on offense, and in touch rugby they have 6 chances to 6 chances, meaning they can be touched 6 times before they have to turn over the ball, give the ball to the other team. So I think this was even the first drive, the first piece of offense from the game. And the other team, the veterans team, was close to getting a try, which is like getting a goal, I guess you could say. Try is when you get the ball to the other end of the field and touch the ball to the ground. So they were pretty close to getting a try, and I was chasing one of their players. I managed to touch him and stop him, but after that, when I was like slowing down, I rolled my ankle. So rolling an ankle is when, your foot is supposed to land flat on the ground, but my left foot landed on the ground so that kind of the side of my foot, the outside of my foot was on the bottom. So my foot was kind of twisted sideways. So that's rolling an ankle. So that hurt, and I immediately went off the field and started kind of carefully walking on it to test how badly I was injured. And it was pretty bad. It hurt a lot. So I took some time off, went on the sidelines and just watched for a little bit. Then after 5 minutes, I thought I could play again, so I went back in, and one of the other players on my team told me, hey, I've had a rolled ankle before. You feel okay now because you're excited and you have, the passion for the game or whatever, but you should probably not play. So I didn't. I waited until the end of the game, and sure enough, by the time the game was over, my ankle had swollen. Swollen means, got bigger to the size of a baseball. So it was probably good that I didn't play. And then, so that was the end of practice. We went home, and I put my foot in a bowl of ice water, and I've basically been doing that all week. It's been 5 days since the injury, and now I can walk pretty well. I don't have a limp anymore. A limp is it's kind of hard to explain, but it's basically when you're walking unevenly, so that when you have a broken ankle, mine's not broken, but a rolled ankle, one leg kind of can't take all of your weight, so you're walking kind of unevenly. So one leg moves normally and the other is kind of slow. Maybe that's the best I can describe it, a limp. But anyway, now I don't really have a limp. Going up and down stairs doesn't hurt anymore. I haven't tried running, but I might try tonight, and if running feels okay, I might try to play in the tournament tomorrow. But, if my ankle still hurts too bad, I guess I won't be able to play, and I'll just watch and cheer for my team. So I think I'll leave it there. I'll probably do a second episode to talk about what happened at the tournament next time. But for now I'll leave it there. I should say my Instagram is Reilly Sullivan XD. Sota's Instagram is eigonosota. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.